Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. In our first story, the I know the owner tactic didn't work because in a small restaurant, it's not hard to find and bring the owner to this kind of customer. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. EM wants me to seat her and her party of 18 right now. So at my previous job, I, 19-year-old female, was only a hostess. I worked downtown in a fairly popular family-owned Mexican restaurant. We had a rule that after 3 p.m., parties needed to be complete before we even began looking for tables to put them at. Your party here, if you were complete, we sat you first. This caused many problems with entitled people. So it's a festival day. That means all parties complete no matter what. EM comes in, a party of 18 incomplete, 7 of 18, and 3 of them are small children. It's a 30 to 45 minute wait once her party gets here. She's huffy, but agrees to wait. About 10 minutes later, another completely innocent lady comes in, also a party of 18, also incomplete, 10 of 18. She has 2 babies and carriers. I tell her the same thing as EM. She agrees. 30 minutes later, the innocent lady comes to the hostess stand. Her party is 16 of 18, but she wants to be seated now. I politely start to tell her that I can't, but she tells me rather tearfully that EM's kids are coming over and disturbing her babies, rocking the carriers, getting in the babies' faces, etc. They won't stop. I inform EM she needs to control her kids. EM haughtily refuses and tells me to stop parenting her children. At this point, I have to get my manager. He can remove EM, or he can give me the authority to get tables set up for innocent lady. He tells me set up the table and tell her she can have a free appetizer for her trouble. I do the things, I head back out front and sit the lady. I come back and EM is at the hostess stand, red in the face. EM, why did you seat her? I've been here for 45 minutes. I have kids. Me, ma'am, your party is still 9 of 18. Her party was too short, and your children were disturbing her babies after being warned not to. EM, I want you to seat me right now, you hateful bee. I know the owner. Me, that's nice, ma'am. Perhaps he can help sort this out. Let me go grab him. EM, wait, what? It being a small restaurant, getting the owner was an easy task. EM was told she needed to leave right now or else the cops would be called. She and her heathen children left. I always like that line. Do these idiots think that the employees don't know the owner of the business they work at? As if a small businessman isn't in his place from before they open until well after closing, and doesn't have a clue who works for him. And our second story. Hauling concrete. Worked at one of the big chain hardware stores, Home Depot specifically. Don't work there anymore. We had an online order come in for 150 80-pound bags of Quikrete. Crap is awful as the bags are awkward to lift. That's about a pallet and a half worth. It's not too bad as normally when someone orders that much, they show up with a large trailer and we can just use a forklift to move the pallets onto the trailer. Nice and easy. And driving the forklift is fun. Cool, I'm excited. I get in the forklift and move a full pallet up to the front near the loading area, then set to moving about 50 bags off of one of the other pallets. I then move the half-full pallet out front, take 25 bags off the full pallet and stack them onto the half-full pallet so that the trailer will have an even load, then wrap them back up into the plastic and put on new straps to hold the plastic down. Essentially, extremely large industrial zip ties. I put the forklift away and wait for the call that he's arrived to pick up his concrete and go back to doing crap. About 2 hours later, the customer shows up and I get a page that he's arrived so that I can go to place his pallets on his trailer. I meet him out front, tell him to pull around over to the loading area and I'll be right back. I'm heading to go get the forklift. He stares at me kind of funny, but nods and heads off to get his truck. I go to get the forklift and return to find that not only does he not have a trailer, he expects to fit 1.5 pallets of concrete into a little Nissan Frontier. I own a Nissan Frontier myself. His was the same year as mine, I believe, 2012, but was the upgraded Sport Pro X. The really expensive one? This was also in 2013, so it was practically a brand new truck. Don't get me wrong, it was a very nice truck, but not the sort of thing you try and haul several tons in. I just sort of sit there in the forklift agape, trying to decide whether this is a joke or if this guy is just that stupid. I sigh, knowing that my back is going to be killing me after this. Company policy won't let me use the forklift to just place a pallet into the back of his truck, and also that's 75 bags of concrete at 80 pounds each per pallet, 6,000 pounds per pallet, 3 tons per pallet, well over the weight capacity of his truck. I ask the customer how many trips he's planning. He tells me it should all fit in one. I again just stare at him. It won't all fit in one. It would be incredibly unsafe. Your truck is probably only rated to handle 1,500 pounds in the bed. You're going to need at least 8 trips to do this safely. He goes from 0 to 100 instantly, starts screaming and yelling, says something to the effect of, "I was going to help you with this effing concrete, but now you're on your own. F you. Figure it out, you minimum wage piece of crap. I'm going to go get lunch. It better be done by the time I get back." And he starts walking off over to White Castle across the parking lot. I just laugh and stare at the concrete. I call for my manager, who happened to be my best friend and roommate. I explain to him what this moron said, how he was acting, etc. F this guy. I'll be right back. He goes back inside and comes out holding a form and walks over to White Castle, forces the guy to sign a waiver, essentially saying any damages or liability is waived by Home Depot or we won't be loading his truck. He signs it. Manager comes back and tells us to load as much as will fit, is what the customer demanded. As we're loading, the back end of the truck is getting lower and lower. We almost had one of the entire pallets loaded in the bed of the truck, again roughly 6,000 pounds of concrete, before we heard the suspension springs pop. Suspension was ruined. We all laughed and decided that was enough and went back inside. The manager and I simply sat there and waited. There was literally no reason to load anymore. A good hour later, he came back, all huffy and puffy that he'd been watching us and we stopped working half an hour ago and there was still space. Manager shrugged and said that was the most he felt comfortable putting in the truck for one trip and that he could, in no morals, load any more. Guy tries to throw a fit. Manager puts his foot down. Guy essentially says something along the lines of, "I'll never come here again. This is effing absurd." He's being an absolute moron. A toddler could see that the bed of the truck was sagging so low that the tires were pretty much rubbing in the wheel well, even without the suspension being shot. Guy hops in, starts the truck, and tries to peel out. Truck doesn't move. He gives it more gas, and there's another bad mechanical noise. He quickly shuts off the truck and just sits there for a moment. Doesn't take him very long before he's screaming and throwing a fit that we loaded too much and broke his truck. We're going to pay for this, yada, yada, yada. He demands that we help him unload the truck, and with the most glorious smirk on his face, my manager simply says, "We will help load, but unloading is not part of our job description. We'll be here when you need us to help with the rest." And then he motions for me to follow him inside, where we realize practically the entire staff are standing, looking out a window, laughing their butts off. It was the absolute best day I've ever had at work, at any job, even if my back was killing me. Sorry about your back, but I'm glad that moron got what he deserved. Some people just can't accept that their thoughts could be wrong. And our last story. Let me have your $40,000 car. My kid deserved it more than you. On with the story. I live in a small neighborhood. About 20% of the people live there own a muscle car, including me. So one day my mom wants me to go buy some food at the supermarket, and I do just that. But I doesn't want to go alone, so I decide to call my friend if he wanted to go with me, and he said yes. So I go pick him up and head to the supermarket, which is 2 miles away. When we get there, I found a parking spot and head into the supermarket. We were there for about an hour. When we're done, we both get to the car for the grocery in. But when we get to the car, we saw a woman and her son taking a look at my car. I think nothing of it. Thought they was just checking it out, but man, I was wrong. When I opened the trunk to put the grocery in, I was interrupted by none other than Entitled Mom, and the conversation went like this. EM, excuse me, is this your car? My friend, yes, it's his car. Me, and do you need anything? EM, can my son drive it for a bit? Me, what? No. EM, why? At this point, the EM is starting to raise her voice. Me, your son is not old enough to drive. EM, no, he's old enough to drive. Now give me the key. My friend, no, lady. Me, why would I give you my key? EM, give me the key. It's not your car. EM, give me the freaking key or I called the cop. Me, look around. Do it. My friend, start laughing. EM, call the cop. So we waited like 10 minutes for the car to arrive, the whole time she's demanding for the key and says her kid to deserve the car more than I do. And the cop finally arrived. Cop 1. What seems to be the problem here? Me. EM cut me off. EM. Officer, this man is trying to steal my car. Arrest him. Cop 1. OP, is this true? Me. No, officer, this is my car. I show the key to the officer. EM, no, arrest him, officer, he's lying. Cop 2. OP, do you have any proof of this? Me. Yes, officer, and I point at the Tesla. If you didn't know what a Tesla is an electric car. It has self-driving mode and have camera on every side of it, so it recorded everything happens. Cop 1, confused. Me, tell him what a Tesla is. So we waited for the Tesla owner, while Karen's screaming the whole time. Eventually the Tesla owner came, and I asked him for the video. He was confused at first, but when he saw the Karen, he knew what I'm talking about, and he showed the video to the cop. And Karen's face goes white as the cop watched the video. So she got arrested for attempted theft. Also, the whole time her kid looked so confused, poor kid, and the cops left with the kid and Karen. What a legend. So me and my friend just went home laughing. My friend said he'll never forget that day. I have no idea what happened to Karen next. And that brings us to the end. I think my life got saved by a Tesla. Every car should have a built-in camera like this. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.